So I've already made a video about some of my Shrinky Dinks. So I went ahead and I made some more, and I'm going to make a video showing you what they look like. Okay, so one of the new ones is this one. That is Casper and Furby, and they are eating cat snacks from little plates. And this is an actual picture. So I actually took a picture of my cats and turned it into a Shrinky Dink. So all I did was just put the picture underneath the plastic sheet, and I traced over it using Sharpies, and then baked it in the oven, and then added the glue to the little pin, and then it was finished, and I stuck it in this board. And then Casper drawing right here. This is another new one. I did the same thing. I had a picture of him printed out, and then I put the plastic sheet over it and used Sharpies to trace over it. Fun fact about this picture actually made it into Catster magazine, which I'm super excited about. So this cat on top of the Polaroid camera here, this is also a new one. So this was just a doodle I did a while back, and so I just traced over it. The only thing that bothers me is that the words snap and Polaroid, they're both backwards, because when I draw on it, I draw on the clouded bumpy side, and so that the slick side is the side that you see on this board. So it's backwards. It's still cute, but it just bothers me a tad. So this weekend there were some races. So yesterday me and my fiance both did a 5K, and so today he did a half marathon. I'm not ready for that, so I sat that one out, but I went with him. And so while he was running the half marathon, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and to see how many Shrinky Dinks I could make while he was running. So of course, I didn't have an oven with me, so I just drew them out. So a few of these are ones that I made a few days ago, but I went ahead and baked them, and they're in this stack as well. So the first one is Sunflower Kitty. So this one right here, that's supposed to be Sunflower Kitty eating her ice cream cone. It's based on the squishy that I made. So here's the Shrinky Dink next to the actual squishy that I made. I did change the ice cream flavor or color, whatever you want to call it, because I thought that it'd just be a nice change. So the next one on the top of my pile is Pee-wee, and she's surrounded by these springs. So one of my cat's favorite toys are these springs, and they're just like little plastic springs, really, and they just love to chase them around the house, and they go crazy for them. So this is like it's raining springies, and she's super happy. Okay, so the next one is a Pee-wee in a small box. So of course my Pee-wee's not that big, but I used a picture I found online to kind of help me draw it. I have a hard time drawing things from just my memory, and so it helps me if I have something like cartoonish to copy, I can do that really easily. I just can't do it by myself. So I just kind of copied it a little bit, but then added my own touches to it, like the coloring, and then her eyes are different in this picture. So recently I bought a package from eBay, and it had like a small camera in it, and as soon as I took the camera out, she ran over as fast as she could and got in the box, and obviously she is way too big for that box. And so I'll actually show you a real picture of her in the box. It's pretty funny. And then here is another little Pee-wee character. So Pee-wee likes to chew on toilet paper, and so in this picture she's rolling out the toilet paper, making a mess, and having the time of her life. So on this one, this is the only one I've ever used a full sheet. I mean, like it's like a full sheet of paper, like printer paper. It was that big, and so this is how big it is. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Okay, so the next one is Pee-wee, smelling and reaching up for a rose. So the next few in this pile are ones that I had trouble with. I've never had this much trouble with putting them in the oven and having them turn out wonky or anything like that. So this one actually curled up on itself and got stuck together, and I had to use a fork and a knife to pry it apart. So it ripped some of the Sharpie off on that side, and then it stuck it on this side. I'm just glad that I could somewhat save it. I'm kind of upset that it messed up, but it is what it is. So the next one is Pee-wee reaching for this cherry on top of this bowl of ice cream, and she has this kind of like evil look in her eyes. And she's going to go run off with the cherry and just play with it. I think this is one of my favorite ones, but I got really upset because the paper that you put on your baking sheet, it kind of got attached to it and it ripped off some of the coloring. So you have all these clear spots. I'm upset about it, but at least it's all over it, so it kind of gives it a look like I intentionally did that maybe, and it's just unique. I don't know. I might try to do it again. I don't know yet. And then here is an 80s cat. So the theme of the race this weekend was the 80s, and so I found a dancing cat and I colored her to look somewhat like she's dressed from the 80s and some 80s designs. So this is another one that kind of got messed up, so there was some oil on the counter. I threw this on top of it without knowing it was there, and when I discovered it, I wiped it off, and so it took off some of that white glazy looking stuff, and then it's clear where it was, so that really bothers me. So these are the four that I actually drew at the race while I was waiting, and I had finished coloring all of them except this one, and all I had left was the box by the time he was done with his race. So I thought maybe I'd have time for at least maybe 10, possibly 20, but then I took too long trying to design them and then, you know, just adding color. So these do take me a while to do because I try to make them look as nice as possible. So I only had 4 done. I think they're fun and cute designs. And I know some of them have like the white that's like shiny and you can't really see them, but here is everybody all together. I just need to add glue and pins, and I'll add the others to my collection.